Hello, good evening. Good evening. Hello, good evening. If you can hear me, say hi. Good evening. Anybody here? If you're here, just type something, say hi, say you're here. Good evening. If you're here, say hi. Good evening. If you're here, say hi. Welcome. Let's wait for more people to join in. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Ayodeji, can you just tell us where you're joining us from? Hello. Please tell us where you are joining us from. Ayodeji. Okay. Okay, Mr. Ayodeji is joining us from Lagos. Thank you for being here. You're welcome. Waiting for other people to join us. Hello, everyone. Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, everyone. Hello, 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 everyone. For other people to join us. Read. Okay. Please, if you are joining us, tell us where you are joining us from. Tell us where you are joining us from, please. Your name and where you are joining us from. Okay. Um, where's everybody? I think I'm just going to go right ahead into the class. I'll just go right ahead and you probably catch up to me. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about hello Lara Taiwo. You're welcome. Please tell us where you're joining us from. Good evening. If you can hear me, please tell us where you're joining us from. Good evening. Welcome, Lara Taiwo. Please tell us where you're joining us from. Oh, from London, UK. Wow. Wow. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being here. Network is a bit glitchy, but I'm just going to go right ahead. I believe every other person will join us. Thank you so much, Lara Taiwo, for joining in from London, UK. Okay, so I'm just going to go right ahead. Positive parenting and you. Parenting is not a walk in the park. Can you hear me, Lara Taiwo? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Lara Taiwo? I want to be sure you can hear me. Can you hear me, Ayodeji? Lara Taiwo, can you hear me? Okay, so I'm just going to go right ahead. Now, positive parenting is not a walk park. Let me just put it that way. You know, God has called us into this office of parenthood to nurture the precious gifts He has given to us. And so, at every point in time, we should ensure that we are really fulfilling purpose. We should ensure that we are really doing what God has asked us to do. You know, it's just like you going to the bank to save your money, or you're going to, or you keeping something precious for yourself. You know how careful you are to ensure that whatever it is properly guarded. That is how our children are to us. They've been given to us as a gift, and so we should do all we can to ensure that we don't fail in this task. So, to start with, I'm going to be talking about your parenting style. What is the parenting style? You know, it's just the way you parent your child. And because we are different, you know, there are because of our own temperament, because of our own makeup, because of our own personality, definitely the way you are going to parent your child is going to be totally different from how I will parent my own child. So we must be very careful not to bring the default style of parenting that our parents used to bring us up. I'm not saying our parents didn't bring us up well, but because of the rate at which this generation is going, there are some things that worked then that would definitely not work now. That's why skills and strategies keep coming up on how to connect best with our children. So it's always good that just the way you hone your career skills, you hone your business skills and all that, so also it becomes very important that you hone your parenting skills. Because if you decide to parent the default style, the normal knocking of head, the normal pulling of ears and all that, at a point you might lose your children. And you know what? It's not something that one should be happy about, because once you miss them, once you lose them, once you miss that connection, it becomes a spiral down effect. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about your parenting styles first, because your parenting style will determine to an extent, to a very great extent, how your child will turn out later in life. Now, your parenting style can affect everything from how much your child weighs to how much she feels about herself. So, it's very important to know that your parenting style will either support the development of your child or mar the development of your child. Because the way you interact with your child, the way you discipline your child will determine to a large extent how the child will turn out later in life. Now, research has been done and it's been discovered that we have four major parenting styles. There are about 12, but the major ones have been narrowed down to four. I just want to be sure you can hear me. Can you hear me, Lara Taiwo? Can you hear me, Ayodiji? Can you hear me? I just want to be sure you can hear me. Can you hear me? Please type yes if you can. Type yes if you can. Okay. Thank you, Lara Taiwo. Okay, loud and clear. All right. So, the parenting styles have been narrowed down to four. And you're welcome, Fatima Baru. You're welcome. Please tell us where you are joining us from. Tell us where you're joining us from. It's good to have you here. Now, your parenting style could either be authoritarian, it could either be authoritative, it could either be permissive or uninvolved. Yes, you might have heard about these styles of parenting before, but I'm just going to go a bit deeper, because this is actually the reason why this masterclass is tagged positive parenting and use, because parenting basically is about you. It's not even about your child, because you are the adult. You are the one that God has put in that office of parenthood to guide your child, to lead your child in the right path. So thank you, Fatima from Abuja. Oh, welcome. So the onus lies on us to find out the kind of parenting style we are presently practicing. This was a game changer for me, because if I didn't find out, it would have been a situation of, oh, I thought I loved this child. How come this and this is what I was doing that would have led to the detriment of the child? So that's why knowledge is very important. You can't know too much when it comes to parenting. Knowledge here, and you're able to equip your parenting toolbox. So now, um the basics of parenting, the basis of you trying to lead your child aright begins with you. If you are a Margaret Thatcher, if you are a very stern person, if you are somebody that is so permit me to use this word, so strong-headed, or you understand what I'm trying to say. There is no, because of ego, we might not be able to connect with our children. That is just an example. So it's very important you know the kind of parenting style you are currently operating so that you would quickly change. Very important. Now, I'm going to be talking about the first style of parenting, which is the authoritarian parenting. Now, this authoritarian parenting style, the parents believe that the child should be seen and not heard. They believe that when it comes to rules, you have to obey mommy. It's always when the child is probably trying to ask, oh, why this, why that? Because I said so. Because I said so. Welcome, Abosede Aminu from Abuja. You're welcome. You know, you're saying because I said so. It's either mommy's way or nothing. It's either my way or the highway. You know, you don't take your child's feelings into consideration. This particular parenting style is characterized by high demands. There's so much you are demanding from your child, and yet your response level is very low. Your warmth level, there's no warmth, there's no connection. All you just want is give this to me and this is what I want. You know, most times we see parents that they want their children to study a particular course, they want their children to be in a particular career field, not taking into consideration the passion of the child, not taking into consideration the feelings of the child, not even wanting to listen to the child to know what the child is interested in. It's just my way or nothing. And that's why you see some of these children, they become suicidal because they end up in a university studying courses that they are not even interested in. And at the end of the day, they bring the certificate home to their parents. And you know what? Some of them even have to go back to school to probably study music, to probably study dance, you know. So the authoritarian style of parenting is all about because I said so. This thing must be kept here. No reason given to the child. It must just be kept here because mommy said so. You know, this kind of parenting style, you don't allow the child to get involved in anything. You don't care about the feelings of the child. When the child goes wrong or when the child breaks a rule, you punish instead of disciplining the child. You punish the child, you shame the child, you hit the child. You know, so rather than teaching the child how to make better choices, which is discipline, which is effective discipline, you are punishing the child. And you know what? Children who grow up with strict parents like this, that are authoritarians, they tend to follow rules. You know, they are very, when it comes to obeying rules, they are perfect in obeying rules. Why? Because it's what goes on in their homes. You know, they've been brought up that way. They're able to obey rules. Yes, in a way, you can say that is good, but if you look at the overall effect, the self-esteem of the child is totally damaged because the child has been made to understand that, oh, it's only about daddy, it's only about mommy. So most times you see the child just trying to please his or her parent. The child is not allowed to express himself. The child is not able to have a say in the home. And you know what? From everything I've said, you should be able to draw your conclusions on how this child will turn out later in life. So that basically is the authoritarian style of parenting. Zero warmth or very low level of warmth, but very high demand, always demanding stuff from the child. And this kind of home might be hostile, it might be aggressive because there's always hitting, punishment, you know. So I just want you to understand that if you follow the trend, if you follow everything I've said, you will be able to understand that this child, these are the kind of children that might end up lying, they might end up stealing, they might end up getting into social vices because they are not allowed to have a say. So that basically is the authoritarian style of parenting. And then we go to the authoritative style. The authoritative style is actually the best, the most recommended. It's actually the best style for parenting your child. You know, in this style of parenting, you put a lot of effort into maintaining a proper positive relationship with your child. You are not just waking up in the morning, rushing out of the house. You are deliberate, you are intentional. You are very, you are into your child. You are very keen on connecting with your child. You explain the reasons behind your rules. You don't just give rules, and you don't just hand out rules, without any explanation. These children, they deserve respect as well. They deserve to be respected. So as you are dishing out the rules, you also take the time to explain to them. You when you enforce the rules, you give the consequences. You let the child know that, oh, this is what obtains in this home. You do this, yeah, you've done well. If you don't do this, if you break this rule, this and this is what's going to happen. The child already knows from the beginning that this is the consequence he's going to suffer for breaking the rules. That means you've taken the feelings of that child into consideration. You're not just saying, oh, the child has misbehaved, so this is your punishment. You are concerned about this child. Now, this kind of parenting is characterized by um, high warmth level. There's high responsiveness between the parent and the child, and there's also high demands. So it's like a 50-50 balance. There's a high demand of behavioral control. This is what is expected in this home, and everything is in check. And the child doesn't really have a problem adapting to these rules, because he can see that the parents are taking his consideration into play. He can see that his parents care about him. They care about his feelings, and they're not just saying, okay, don't do this because I said so. I said in one of my previous posts, I said, when you are making rules in your home, it's always best for you to gather the kids together, probably with your spouse, and you set these rules together. And after setting the rules together, you set the consequences, so that everybody knows, is on the record, so no child can feign ignorance. Sorry. Sorry. So this child is already aware of the consequences. So the child is going to behave well. The child is going to give it his best shot, because he knows that the parents have his interest at heart. Now, the above scenario I've painted, if this relates to you, if it resonates with you, that means you may be an authoritative parent. Now, authoritative parents have rules and they use consequences. It's different from a child breaks a cup, a child breaks a glass cup, and then you send the child to a corner, and then you spank the child, you hit the child, you say all sorts of things to the child. No. But if you're an authoritative parent, you would have talked about this before. If you break a glass cup, this and this is what I'll do to you. And the consequences should be natural. They should be related to the situation. These consequences, you should be able to say, okay, if you break the glass cup, for example, you can say, okay, you're not going to drink with a cup. Just an example. Or if you use your phone for more than the allocated time, you are not going to use your phone for the next 48 hours. So let your consequences be relatable. They should be natural, to the rule that has been broken. Now, authoritative parents validate their children's feelings. They make it clear to them, darling, honey, I'm doing this because I don't want this to happen. I'm saying you shouldn't go out at night because it might be very risky for you to stay out late at night. Not because I don't love you, but because I really love you and I want you to be safe. That is just the basic example. So you're letting the child know the consequence beforehand. Authoritative parents, they invest energy, they invest time It's not easy. Some people, there's even somebody on this group that has had to resign her job from a managerial position just to be with the kids. I know how it is. I know the hustle and bustle taking place today in the society. I know that everybody has to make ends meet, but just try as much as you can to give your children quality time, because if you don't invest in that time now, if you don't invest in that time now, it might be a sorry situation. And at the end of the day, the hustling and bustling, everything you are doing, at the end of the day, how will you get joy? Because you already have problems waiting for you in the home. So it's very important that um things you have priorities. I'm not saying you shouldn't do what you have to do, but just make sure you are spending quality time with the children. Now, an authoritative parent uses positive discipline strategies, like some that I've mentioned. They use praise and reward systems. I'm still going to go into details later. And children, statistics have proven that children that are raised by authoritative parents, they become, they are successful, they are happy, because they were raised in a high demands of behavioral um, capabilities, and we also have high responsiveness, high level of warmth. So it's a balanced approach. Now, that is just an overview. I'm still going to go in depth. That is just an overview of an authoritative parent. Now, the third kind of parenting style is the permissive parenting. This is the one that has caused a lot of havoc in parenting today. You think you love your child, but unknowingly, you don't know that you are dragging that child down the wrong path. You know, you set rules as a permissive parent, but you don't enforce them. You say, okay, if you jump on the chair, this is what I'm going to do to you. And then the child jumps on the chair and you don't do that thing. You don't enforce that consequence. The child, permit me to say, he will see you finish, you know. And when it's now time for you to set your house rules, the child will be used to the fact that, oh, mommy, daddy, they just make the rules. They don't enforce the rules. So I feel those rules are just suggestions. Anything goes. This is a very, very terrible style of parenting. You don't give out consequences very often. You think your child will learn best when you don't interfere. You think your child will learn best when you don't interfere. You just leave the child. It's only when something is about to happen, probably you can see an impending situation. That is when you now rush there and say, "Oh, stop that! Stop that! Stop that!" But you are not really firm. You see the child doing stuff. The child is running up and down. You say, "He's a child. He's a child." From is a child, that child starts growing up, and that habit starts sticking. And when it's now time for you to do the correction, it becomes a Herculean task. Permissive, they are very lenient, very, very lenient. Anything goes. They forgive a lot, and they have an attitude that children will always be children. Let's just leave them. You know, when they use consequences, it's even just once in a while. You say, okay, if you are not in bed at so time, this is what I'm going to do to you. You are not going to watch TV for 1 hour the next day. And then the child is not in bed. And the next day you allow the child to watch TV. He does the same thing, and you're not firm with your consequences. The child, that child is not going to have regards for authority. That child, you are unconsciously leading him in the wrong path. So as a permissive parent, most time you are more like a friend. It's a very good thing when you befriend your children. It's a very good thing when you have a deep connection with them. They're able to talk to you and all that. But there's a line that needs to be drawn. When it's time for you to take up your friendship role, to be able to talk and chat with your children, fine. But when it's time to be the parent, you are the boss. You are the one that tells the child what to do. So when it's time for you to assume that role, please step into your shoes and do the right thing. Don't say, I'm my child's friend. You now look so much like your child's friend that he doesn't even respect you, he doesn't have regard for you. You say, sit down, and the child is still jumping up and down. He doesn't, he has seen you more as a friend than as a parent. And you are supposed to be in a position to guide him. Because even the Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go. When he is old, he will not depart. He will not depart. So if you don't start from now, what would the child stand for? What will he stand by? When he leaves your house tomorrow to go to the university or to go into the world, what will be his values when there's no foundation? Because you might be getting every other thing else, but your parenting style might be doing damage. And that is why I'm treating this topic today. And so kids who grow with permissive parents, they are more likely to struggle academically. That has been proven. They are more likely to struggle academically. They might exhibit behavioral problems, because you can't say, okay, anything, when they were growing up, anything goes. So when they go out there, they believe anything goes. When it comes to abiding by rules, flowing with authority, they may have issues because they were not put through properly from their home. That's why the saying that charity begins at home is very, very important and very true. So as a parent, if everything I've said now resonates with you, if you see yourself as a permissive parent, such that you are so lenient with your child, anything goes, your child is most likely the boss. When he says he wants this thing, that is when he gets it. It's not too good. Please make a change. Like I said earlier, the authoritative parenting style is the best style that has been recommended. So let me quickly go to the fourth style of parenting, which is the uninvolved parenting. As the name implies, the parents are uninvolved. They don't care about these children. They don't ask about the homework. They don't ask about the schoolwork. They don't ask about what goes on, you know, in school. You don't even know what goes on in the lives of your children. And I think there was a note, a girl that trended on the internet recently about a 15-year-old girl that committed suicide. That girl was dying inside. She was pained on the inside. She had so much to talk about, but no one was there to listen to her, and she suffered alone until she died. I'm not saying her parents did wrong. I'm not judging anybody, but I'm just saying do not be an uninvolved parent. Most of us had to wait on God before you got those children. Most people had to wait for years before they got those children. Please, uninvolved parenting, the worst kind of parenting you can ever think about. That's why you see children on the streets today given to social vices, doing all sorts of things. There was nobody to point them in the right direction. And well, some people might say, probably their parents did all they could, but these children they just want to be bad. They just want to do this and do that. No. As a parent, you are a farmer. You are a farmer that should nurture your seedling. And you begin to nurture that seedling until he begins to grow and until he begins to transform into a full plant, a full-blown plant, and then into a big tree that blossoms and bears fruit. So no child should be left alone. Don't go to work in the morning, come back and just say, oh, you've kept their food, you've organized everything. No, they need you. Children will not remember the toys you bought for them. They will not remember all the ice cream you bought for them. They will remember the quality time. They will remember the relationship they have with you at all times. And remember that whatever you are doing today, you are laying a foundation in the lives of those children. So, what am I saying? Uninvolved parenting is a complete no no. And then these children, they most times they end up raising themselves. They fend for themselves. Even if they are under your nose, they are under your roof, they are sick. Some parents don't even know their children are sick. Please, if this is your style, kindly make a change. That's why we're in this class today. We are learning. Nobody is perfect. I was once making a mistake, but I know better now. And that's why knowledge is unending. We must continue to seek knowledge at all times. So that is just a summary of the four parenting styles that we have. From what I've said, you should already know the category you fall in. And like I said earlier, authoritative parenting is the best style that has been recommended. I'm going to highlight some of these points after this class on my Instagram page. Now, um, sometimes you just discover that, oh, there's no connection with your child. You just discover that everything you are doing, you are just looking at it from your own point of view, forgetting to put yourself in the shoe of your child. So I'm going to give you some points to help you ascertain if you are being too strict with your child. Because once you are too strict with your child, you started losing that child. And once you start losing that child, they will go and look for somebody to talk to outside. And if unfortunately they talk to the wrong person or the wrong set of people, you already know what that means. So why don't you make a decision to be your child's friend? Why don't you make a decision to be the first person your child is going to talk to when anything comes up in his or her life? So I'm going to share some tips with you on how you can know if you are being too strict with your child. Sometimes your expectation is too high. Even as adults, you as a parent, how do you feel? Let's say at work, for instance, when the demand on you is too much, when the expectation on you as regards your job is too much, how do you feel? And probably you now find yourself in a kind of job that even with all you do, you're not appreciated. How would you feel? You might still be on that job, but you'll be withdrawing little by little. And you know what? You might even start planning your resignation. Or if you're not going to resign, you will just be there stuck and unhappy. It's the same thing. Whatever you do in this parenting journey, always put yourself in the shoe of your children. Some days ago, I was talking about back talk. When you say something to your child and the child answers you back, snaps at you, the moment you see it as disrespect, you become furious and you react. You get angry. Sometimes you might even spank the child. Am I the one you are talking to like that? Am I not your mother? I'm your mother, blah, 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 and all that. But when you put yourself in the shoe of that child, you will discover that that child is crying for help. You will discover that probably that child was bullied in school that day. Probably that child was shamed. Probably that child was talked to in a manner that was so derogatory that affected his self-esteem. Or the child might just be, he might even be hungry for young children, for toddlers. Like my son, for example, when he's hungry, he gets very cranky. There's nothing you say, there's nothing you do that will make him concentrate until food enters his tummy. So that kind of child, the child is hungry, you are taking the child out to probably you're taking the child shopping. He would begin to throw tantrums everywhere because you have not met his need. Give that child food and you see the child bubbling. So please, this is just by the way, just ensure that whatever you do, put yourself in the shoe of your child. It will give you a glimpse of how that child will be feeling. Now, for example, some people are of the school of thought that okay, they say we shouldn't spank and all that. What about we that were spanked back in the days? We were spanked. They pulled our ears and all that, and see the way we turned out. We turned out decent, responsible, and all that. Sincerely, be truthful. When your parents, when they were knocking your head, or when they were punishing you, or shaming you, or abusing you when you did something wrong, then how did you feel? Were you happy? Were you not grumbling? Me, I know there were some occasions that I would be grumbling in my heart that what kind of mother is this self? What kind of father is it? In fact, I had a friend then that she was like, she didn't believe that it was her mom that gave birth to her because she was so hard on her. Most people, they had this very tough upbringing. See, that is not what will make you a responsible person in this age that we're in now. You now have children and say you want to use that style. You will lose them because they will just go on the internet. They will go and type, how can I calm down? How can I okay, I'm being stressed at home. My folks, they are giving me a tough time, and all that. They will meet friends, they have peers. Influence, negative influence is so big out there, and the internet or peers or negative influence out there will teach your child. And then you discover one day that you don't know your child anymore. You don't recognize your child. You are wondering, this is my wonderful son, this is my wonderful daughter, because you left them behind. So I'm just going to share this point on how you can know if you are being too strict with your child. You have a zero tolerance policy. I know it's good to have rules. It's good. I'm still going to share with you much later how you can set your rules, how you can set your expectations for your household, for your children, and all that. Now, you have zero tolerance policy. Nothing else matters, just like the authoritarian parents. Nothing else matters. It is your way or the highway. It is how you want it or nothing. So that is one way to understand if you are being too strict with your child. And then another way to know if you are being too strict with your child is if your child lies a lot. Your child has started lying. You know why that child is lying? It's not because that child wants to lie. It's because of the way you react when the child told you something. Okay, let me put it this way. It's because of the way you reacted when the child confided in you some time ago, when the child trusted you, when the child opened up to you, the way you reacted. Who did this thing? Okay, let me just say, who spilled the milk? Who spilled the milk? I said, who spilled the milk? Who spilled the milk? You will know yourself today. I said, who spilled the milk? All those things you are doing, the child is already cooking the lie. He's already preparing the lie he wants to tell you. Why? Because nobody likes to be punished. And with the way you are even reacting, I can already tell that probably that's a home where punishment will be very, very, punishment will be used to a very large extent. You're already screaming. If you don't tell me who spilled that milk, this you will know yourself today. I will do this. The child will lie. But if you are calm, if you are relaxed, darling, who spilled the milk? Did you do it? Just tell me the truth. I told you it's not good to lie. One of the values I taught you is honesty. You have to be truthful always. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to shame you. Just tell me, did you do it? Did you do it? I'm just going to correct you. Did you do it? The child will say, yes, mommy, I did it. And you know what? You are just going to talk to the child in a calm way. Talk to the child. Let the child know why it's wrong to spill milk. And then tell the child, oh, next time if you want to get milk, if you know you can't reach where it is, just get a stool or something, or you call somebody to help you. And that's it. There's a whole lot of difference between the two scenarios I've painted. That is the reason why most children lie. Now, your child comes home, your child begins to tell you she has a crush on her classmates. Before the child even finishes her reports, you have, you want to have a boyfriend in my house? Don't you true? I will skin you alive. I will show you that I'm your mom. Do you know at what age I was before I had a boyfriend. I didn't even know anything. Boyfriend. If you try it, if you try it, you now bring out a cane and be showing her. She will not only have a boyfriend, she will go and be doing things outside because you have decided to put your ego before parenting. Most times, as a parent, you respond, you don't react, no matter what the child has done. And let me quickly drop this tip. That's why when you are praising your children, probably when your children do very well in school, um they pass their exams or something, or they do well in sports or whatever it is, in their music class or whatever it is, when you are praising these children, after telling them you are proud of them because they passed their exams, because they did well, also let them know. Let me just paint a scenario. Oh, darling Joyce, you did so well in your exams. Wow, wow, wow. You actually aced everything. You dusted all your papers. Wow, congratulations. I love you so much. You really make us proud. But you know what? I don't just love you because you passed. I don't just love you because you did well in this sports. Sorry, I'm very passionate about parenting and I'm tearing up already. I always get very passionate when I'm talking about it. Now, you tell your child, oh, Joyce, I'm not just congratulating you because you passed, but I want you to know that I love you regardless. Whatever happens in life, whatever you do, just know that I will always love you. Just know that your mom will always love you. Just know that your siblings will always love you. We are always here for you at all times. Do you know that when you talk to your children that way, when anything happens by chance, let's say by any chance they do something that is not right. Let me just say, for example, let me just use this example. A girl now goes to get pregnant. You know, this child will not run away from home. She won't. You know why? Because she knows that love awaits her in the home. And how does she know? Because over time, you've been telling her that, listen, girl, we don't love you just because you make good grades. We don't love you because you sing well. We don't love you because you do this and this so well. We still love you regardless of anything. We love you no matter what happens, no matter what you do. So when it happens that that child makes a mistake out there, he will come home. She will come home. She won't run away. Or happen to you heard of girls that got pregnant and ran away from home? They left home. Why? Because they already know that if they step foot into their homes, they will be skinned alive. And you know, those children, they are lost. Some of them might just end up